Oh no.
It still doesn't
60 days.
I thought it's been 60 days.
You need to be at least 60 days old before you can go live on Facebook. Liar!
Terminate.
Liar! Oh, hey, we're here. We're live.
Oops, sorry.
We're coming at you. The dishes are done, man. Facebook denied us again. Guess what, Zuckerberg? We're tired of apologizing too. Agnew, how are you?
I'm all right. I guess I actually didn't finish getting completely prepped for this episode, but
Well,
I think I did good enough. It's good. We're gonna try out a few new things.
you did more than I did.
We'll see what sticks. But I had the all of the sudden thinking everything was all right, and then finding out that nothing was right. Both kids were up, and all hell was breaking loose. So
Where's the wife?
she's handling it, but we're also
Oh.
getting ready for a wedding tomorrow night. So, and it's like a black tie wedding. So, I'm just wearing a suit, but but she's like getting all prepared for it. So she has to go into her cocoon and figure out all the different things that need to be done. Meanwhile, I'm just going to put on the same pair of pants and the same shirt and same everything I wear for every single fancy event. And I just put it in a bag and then I unzip it every time. So it's a lot easier on us. I don't need too much prep to make all of
I
this
know.
happen.
I love the line in Barbie when someone, maybe Barbie or Ken, I forget, asks this man, so the patriarchy is over? And he's like, no, we're just better at making everyone think it might be over. Or we're just better at making everyone think it's possible.
Yeah. So what were you up to? You were saying you were out for a bit and then excited to get back. Or no, you had something that you did with the kids that worked really well. Trying to remember what you said.
Well, I had like a weekend with them alone, and it was interesting. Like there were other mothers that like literally tagged in
Yeah.
and helped me. Not that I was ever like alone without either of them at any time, but Hannah went to a party with a mom that, their kid was also going to that party. So it was just me and Charlie. And dude, it was exactly a 6-hour period. It was weird. We dropped Hannah off at exactly 2:30 and she got dropped off at 8:30. In those 6 hours, man, Charlie squeezed like 12 hours out of me. Like I think at the very least I tickled her for like 45 minutes straight. She just like wouldn't let me stop because she just, and I'm like in my head as it's happening, I'm like, I remember my dad never tickling us long enough. So I was just not saying no to anything this weekend.
I always remember it always ended with, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It would turn like deadly at some point.
Eventually she would stop and then she would go 3, 2, 1, go again. And yeah, it was like, dude, it's weird. It's like I saw them both like at new stages of like coming, like online, like completely, like fully realized, like all these different personalities from different relatives that are kind of like an amalgamation of who they are.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And how they're kind of like handling it. And it's, pretty fucking emotional, man. God, like on another level. I mean, in a good way, but also just in a exhausting way.
Oh yeah. Well, especially when you see other people, other personalities coming from, especially family members and stuff in them. I mean, even we end up calling them by that family member's name. It's like, like you're throwing a fit. You're like, okay, sure.
Charlie will throw herself on the floor, and I'm like, this is why I was held back in second grade. for this very act. Oh no.
Whoopsies.
So but also it's like I worry for them in completely different reasons. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like the world is a china shop and Charlie's like a bull, but like a really sensitive one.
Right.
And
Well,
then
that's kind of,
Hannah's
yeah.
go ahead.
It's like you can be tough, but then fragile at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, but she has like that it's like a sixth sense of like facial recognition. You know, like she's always like,
Oh.
"Dad, why did you make that face?" I'm like, "What? You're 3.5."
Yeah, when they start when they start diagnosing you. And
Yeah,
that's the I mean, it's a good wake-up call, but it is by far one of the worst things,
I
um,
know. I'm like, all the tricks are
that
gone.
that you can get hit. But even if, like, you're just not even in, like, your best state, you know, they'll be like, "Oh," like, one time I was in just, like, a bad mood. They're eating dinner at the counter, and I was just kind of doing dishes and stuff, and they're like, "Dad, what's wrong with your face?" You know? I'm like, "What? No, nothing's wrong with my face." They're like, "No, something's wrong with your face." Um,
Hannah said that to Heather one time. Mommy, what's wrong with your face? What's wrong with your eyebrows? Because Heather just like went to war with her. Maybe she like ran into a parking lot or something.
yeah.
Mommy, what's wrong with your face? Don't do that face. What happened to your face?
What happened to your face? It's broken or something.
I mean, oh man, but it's like the opposite with Hannah. Hannah is a china shop and the world is a bull. You know, it's like the one that's born with like this outlook of like, I don't know, overly optimistic. Not overly optimistic, but like gullible, I guess.
That's
Maybe
not
too trusting, too
I mean
trusting.
I mean, at her age, I think it's okay, you know? It's okay to see things more positive. I mean, I remember Ruby being like that too, you know? I mean, even if she got talked down to at the
Me too.
playground, you know, she had some kids one time that were yelling at her to be a baby, and she's like, "Hey, can we play?" And they're like, "No, we don't play with babies." And she was like, well, can we still play? I'm like, Ruby, how are you still in this conversation? The kids, pushing you away. And she's just like, I just made a
Right.
friend.
Who wants to be a part? Who wants to
Like,
go to a party that they weren't invited to?
right.
Actually, disinvited. I know, and I get that. So it's kind of like, shit. I think it's just the stark contrast, and Charlie just fucking second guesses everybody,
Mm.
trusts no one, like has her own, like I'll get it myself. Like, no, don't help me.
Yeah, just break right through.
It makes Hannah's so much more like glaring. But yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna like paint it black for her.
I mean, eventually each of those personality traits pay off in some way and also lead to a bloody nose in another way. I mean, there's nothing to really do about it.
I know.
Like,
Damned if you do.
yeah, well, one's agreeable and,
I'm just
you know,
trying not to die early.
yeah. Yeah, just don't die, please.
Just trying not to have a heart attack from the stress.
Well, it's and we're working on having uh, Ruby walk home on her own from school, which maybe it should just be like something super. It's like kind of crazy when we drive up to like Lancaster. There's tons of
Lancaster.
there's ton. Well, Kelly's parents live there now, and when we go up, you see tons and tons of kids on kind of these bike scooters and things like that, just going right down the highway with everybody else. And they seem fine. Like, I don't know how many are getting hit or injured or whatever, but it doesn't seem like it's happening too often. And they're just walking down there and they're doing fine. So, you know, Ruby's asking, "Hey, can I start walking home by myself?" And it's like, I trust her.
Right.
Like, if it was just her in the world and the world operated by all the rules, cool. Yeah, go ahead. Like, stop on red, go on green, whatever you want to do. But it's just like,
Everyone behaved as if they were extras in the background.
but there's just, we had an incident in the right after we went food shopping, and I don't know what mode I went into, but I went into a different mode. I went into some sort of mode, kind of like what I assume SEAL Team 6 goes into, like whatever the I'm not a Navy SEAL, obviously, but
What?
whatever mode they go into, the focus. Um, it was crazy. So I took the kids food shopping, and we were coming out of food shopping, and this guy started doing donuts in his truck, in the
Oh
parking
my
lot.
god.
And I'm trying to give the kids a bit more freedom. So, I was having Leo return the cart, and at the Aldi you put it in, and like you can recollect your quarter out of it and stuff. So he
Yes.
really likes to
Weirdest.
do it.
The weirdest.
But so I had him putting it back, and then Ruby was already in the car, and I was maybe 50 feet from where the cart return was. And this guy's doing out of control donuts and then flying 40, 50 miles an hour through the parking lot to the other side and doing donuts over there and then flying over. So,
Oh my god! Everybody just go back inside. We're running back to the deli.
so I had Ruby get in the car. I was like, I was just shouting commands. I'm like, get in the car. And then, because I just wanted to see what was going on. So I just had eyes on the car, and I'm also keeping eyes on Leo. And the guy drove around in circles and then peeled off and went between me and Leo. So, I went absolutely bonkers at that point, right? So then I ran over to Leo, and I had him all the way up against, there were those cement pillars, uh, so if it ran into that, like the pillars, I assume would stop it. Looking back, I probably should have just said go inside, but I didn't want him to lose eye contact with where I was, because that if I said run back in the store, then I'm abandoning Ruby
Yeah, right
at the
now
car.
I don't know where everyone is, and
Okay,
like
okay.
I can't see the diorama. I
Oh,
need
oh,
like
all right.
I need you to set up the characters and the positionings,
Okay, so
because it's like that would depend on what I would do. That would impact what I'd say and which direction I'd give to my family. I'd need to save from the maniac.
right, right. So, all right, let me break it down.
God,
So
assholes
there's
everywhere.
there's the store. Let's picture a big rectangle as the store, right? And there's the doors that open up, and there's the cart return right in front of it. It's all
Hmm.
kind of open space with like an awning,
Hmm.
and then there's cement pillars that go around to protect cars from driving directly into the store. So the carts can get through, but cars can't get through. Trucks can't get through. Um, then there's a double
Ah.
parking strip, so two cars strips, and then there's enough room to drive, both directions, and then there's one more strip that you would just pull into, and then there's the curb and the street. So it's kind of like three rows, if you will. The
Right,
first
right,
row
right, right,
is
right.
first row closest to the street is where I was parked, and then there's double car parking, and then another road, and then another parking lot, road, and then
A blacktop.
the blacktop. Yeah. So he was coming around,
Go
and the
play on
whole
the
the whole
blacktop.
the whole big part the whole parking lot's kind of this big L shape. So we're just on one side of the L, and so he was doing donuts on the higher part of the L, and then coming around and going around to the other end of the L and doing donuts, and then driving through again. So I thought,
Oh,
and you also don't know how long it's going to last, right? Like he could have just wanted to do
no, yeah.
donuts, and then he
Like a
would have just
tornado.
he
Know
could have
what
just
direction it's
left, right?
going.
I mean, he could have just done it and just drove out right to the exit, right? So, and just like, idiot,
Right, right.
Um, so I wasn't trying
Dick.
to overreact either, because I didn't want to freak the kids out. So so Ruby was with me. Leo's across the parking lot at the front of the store returning the cart, and he's actually doing a really good job because he's looking both ways to kind of see if a car is coming. And meanwhile, all I'm thinking is, all right, as long as he's looking, and I'm trying to see what possible dangers are here, and now all of a sudden, off in my distance, it's like the most dangerous, like Ram 150, 1500 or whatever
Oh,
they are,
no.
just peeling around, like, and losing control, kind of doing that weird,
Like,
like shaky thing. Yeah.
like you don't know what you're doing, you
No,
idiot.
no, not even good. And it's not
Get
like
out of the car, hand
there's
over
no
your
weight in the
license.
back, so it's not even getting good traction. So he's just spinning around. And yeah, so I told Ruby to get in the car. I ran I ran right for Leo, and he was with other people at that point because people were coming out of the store and then seeing what was going on, and they were all just waiting for it to end. Um, it was still kind of early, so they were just kind of like they were just in shock,
It was
just
a
like I was.
young, like it was early in the morning, and this person is doing
Yeah, this
donuts.
this was kind of
Settle
first
down,
thing on
Jay.
a Sunday. Like we were
Shit.
just trying to do this before the day started. It was like around 8:30 in the morning. So so I went over to Leo, and I just told him to stay against the wall, the wall of the store.
Get against the
Um,
wall.
and I just kind of
Up against the wall.
stood between him and the guy, and he drove by, and then he went to my right and was doing donuts, and then he went between me and Ruby. So he went right
Yeah.
by our car, and our car was the only one in that line. So for a brief moment, I was worried he was going to T-bone into our car, and like right where Ruby was sitting. So I was just getting very, like, I just wanted to rip this guy's head
Yeah, yeah.
completely off,
Yeah, kill him. Kill him. Make sure he can't do this again.
So then I started probably doing a dumb thing. It probably, and
Did you cut a promo on this guy?
no, I started getting in front of him, like daring him to hit me, like yelling at him to stop, telling him he's an idiot, but heading towards him, like wherever he was, I was heading towards him in kind of a T1000 march, not running, but that determined walk.
Yes, yes,
Like
the robot
if you
walk.
if you stay in the same spot for too long, I'm gonna get you. I'm not running. I'm not rushing. I'm not wasting any energy because I'm going to use all of my energy once I have you.
To
Once I have
smash.
your neck in my hand, then I'm going to use all of my energy until I don't have any energy left. I don't care if I would break every bone in my body. I would make sure that I was using them to break every part of him. I was so mad, and so it went on for a while. Like I don't even know how long it went on. It felt after a while, it felt really, really long. People were
And like
recording it. It was just like this young. It looked
people
like a
recording a
hillbilly
guy
white guy. It
driving
was just.
around, like he just kept going. Like for
I
how many
mean,
minutes? I know I know time's probably
yeah,
impossible,
yeah. Time kind of changes. I mean, it was
but
probably altogether 3 minutes, but
okay, that's still way too long, dude.
three
To
minutes
last
of
7
that.
seconds,
Yeah,
it should be
because
like.
he donuts, peeled out the other way, did donuts over there, peeled back, and then he would kind of stop and just rev his engine. But I mean, even after it was done, even after he finally did leave, um,
Did you get close? Oh, jeez. Did you get close enough to his car to like see him?
yeah,
See this gentleman?
I could see him, yeah, but
Love how we
he just looked
assumed
like
man,
generic.
and we were right.
He just looked like a generic guy, like he didn't have,
Douche.
yeah,
Anything going on?
he didn't have, a
In order to
forehead
feel the
tattoo.
power of the machine underneath my
Well,
my
I'm sure he
God,
crashed. There's no way he didn't crash.
families,
Yeah, he could
dipshit.
because he took off and he started taking off, and the L is actually elevated there, so he turned off down Market Street, and he's driving through the L with all the
It's no
the
girl on Market
beams, and
Street.
it's kind of tight there, and he was kind of spinning out as he was going there. It was just horrible.
Oh.
The nice thing was is that everybody that came out of the store was kind of together, and there were some people taping, there were some people shielding. So Leo was 3 or 4 people deep. So, and the kids kind of handled it well. They just had the question everybody would probably have, like, why did the guy do it? What was he trying to do? What was the purpose?
Oh gosh,
Which is a really tough question to
it's
answer.
always it's fun. That was fun. I was having fun.
It's fun to
I
terrify.
like my car. Yeah, that part is kind of like also they
I
don't
mean,
just give a
it
they
wasn't
don't give a
donuts in
shit.
the Kmart parking lot after hours. It was 8:30 in the morning with families coming in and out of the grocery store. Somebody could have not been paying
Yeah,
attention.
that part's an added bonus
Somebody could have just had earbuds in and just walked right out in front of them. I mean,
to the most entitled, careless generation in history are behind the wheel.
so then I was just thinking about afterwards. I of course have to go through all the things I could have done. Very similar to when I got mugged. I replay the event over and over and over and over in my head. What could I have done differently? Could I have taken out a tire iron and or the
Mm.
softball bat in our back and just kind of hurled it directly, at his head,
And hoped
and
he
just
didn't duck.
decapitated him. Yeah, or just smashed
Running
his
is
windshield.
running. Running's is always because it's like, I'm not chasing you.
Yeah,
It's like if you have an opening, just go
that's why
and,
I thought.
run until your ankles break.
That's why I thought walking determinedly. I don't know what the word would be.
Determinatedly.
Determinedly, um, directly at him seemed. Me personally, I felt like that would be more intimidating than if I ran at him, because then it, right, like you said, it would kind of be like a chase. But if I just kept turning my direction and just kept marching towards him, I feel.
Were you just trying to like be as close to the car as you could be, so that meant it was just like not near your family? You're just like, I'm just gonna keep like getting like you're boxing out
Yeah,
almost.
I just wanted to be between him and the kids.
Yeah. And
Because if he
closest to
started heading
them.
towards the kids, then he's gonna have to go through me first, which
Right,
is a dumb
exactly.
thing because that also hurts the kids. But what I don't know what else I was supposed to do. I probably wasn't thinking right, but it's not
No,
in this moment.
you went into something that doesn't get any credit. The other version gets all the credit, but you went into like Papa Bear mode. You were like, no, I will not.
Yeah,
I will not allow this.
it just would have been way more awesome to have a weapon. That
Right,
would have
like
been
if you
great. Just
whipped
like
out
a sword to throw at him. But
nunchakus.
yeah. I would have hurt myself with
Or if you were
nunchucks,
like,
but
donuts samalanas
yeah,
menestonos.
or just something to like pop his tires or something. I don't know.
Right, like throw something on the ground that like he eventually like runs over. Psst, that would be the best. A
Yeah,
little spike
if I
on the
had
ground.
if I had the one of those strips, I'm just like, yeah. But then he would
Yeah.
have lost control and hit somebody. It's not.
Mm. That's why your placement is key. You have to like do it like on a bridge.
Yeah, yeah. There weren't any bridges around on Market Street in Philly, but I could have maybe redirected him over to the 41st Street. Like, go drive. You won't drive over to the police dodge.
But dude, I have seen kids in cars in parking lots early in the morning on weekends because they're just like, oh, it's empty, nobody's here, it's whatever. So like whoever they're not, it's like
Wait, they're
he
leaving the
just
kids in the cars?
no,
Oh, okay.
no.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Like
You're like, I see many kids in the car because nobody's there.
no, I mean like young jackasses
Oh,
in their cars in parking lots doing that type of shit,
oh, I see.
just being idiots because they're not allowed to really do it anywhere else.
Oh, it was
As long as
definitely.
there's no police cars in the parking lot, they're just gonna they're gonna rev their engine, man. It's
Well, I mean,
so
half the time
cheesy.
the cops can't chase them either, because then the
Can't really
cops
do
will
much, right?
cause more of an accident.
I
It's
know
unfortunate.
that's the funny thing. I usually watch those chases. I don't usually. I like to watch those where the cop cars just rely on the helicopter because it's like, well, what am I going to do? Speed through traffic after this guy and make things
Yeah,
worse. And
I
all the
do.
people in the chat are like, they're not even chasing him.
Where would you? Where would you? Yeah. Where would you? I know. Well, not everybody. I mean, I've watched every episode of Cops, um, which is, I feel like I should have got a badge or something for that, but because there's a lot of episodes of Cops. But I think what would you think about? Would it be a hindrance of freedom? Would it impede on our freedom to have a device in every car that police could press a button and the car would just disengage, like it would just shut off?
I mean, the idea is like, because it's not a right, but it's also like that seems like a messy technology that could like
Yeah,
really cause danger.
I mean, if it was real, let's take
Right,
out
perfect
hackers and stuff. let's say
bugs.
let's say let's say it's perfect encryption. It takes, authorization from a judge to like, it's got to be warrant level, right? Hey, I'm chasing this guy down the highway. He's already hit 3 people. We need to disengage this thing. And a judge says, yeah, you can do it. Kind of just like any other
I
search
mean,
warrant.
dude,
And then it disconnected.
if the technology's perfect,
And
then
all it
like
does is shut the car off. It doesn't
the the
explode the
s-
car or anything.
the whatever the speed signs on the road can tell if you're not doing it, and your car just pulls you over, and you get it back in a week, and it drives away.
Hmm. Well, like in places like Germany, they just take your car. Like if you go drunk driving, they just take your car. You
Yeah,
don't have your
like
car anymore.
yo,
That
you
makes
don't
way more
you
sense
don't
to me.
get 5 chances.
Well, that was
you
it.
don't get you don't get 10 chances.
Yeah.
It's like behave or don't,
Yeah. And
or don't be.
I mean, I don't want to go to a complete face eyeball scanning world, but I want there to be a way to catch people like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I always get so annoyed at people when they don't follow the written and unwritten rules of our world
Yeah.
because, you know, we all do. We all have to. I mean, I've talked about this a million times, but it's just like, it's just so much easier.
Yeah. Follow the
We
rules.
all just don't be dicks about it.
All right. Well, I picked some good ones tonight. And I made a little wheel, and hopefully this doesn't affect our recordings or
Oh,
anything
yeah.
like that. But we have
Oh, yeah.
a
I like
wheel,
it.
and I don't know how you actually spin
Won't
the
take
wheel.
no. Well, won't take no. That sounds like Charlie.
All right. So instead of you deciding, I'm just going to spin the wheel and we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Oh, cool. It's pooping in my ear.
Left kids home.
You got me.
You all
Ooh,
right?
left kids home. Left kids home.
All right. Let's see. In 2016, I left my kids alone for 4 days to attend a work trip. My brother and brother-in-law checked on them, but they were alone overnight. I could not secure overnight coverage. One night they called me because they were arguing, and the guilt I was already feeling skyrocketed. I have never forgiven myself, and when I think about it now, I can't believe I made that decision. For years, whenever I am reminded of that trip, I am instantly back in an extremely shameful place. Like I am tormented and embarrassed. I picture their tiny little faces and imagine the boys fighting and the girl crying. I imagine them hungry and unable to care for themselves. I
Hmm.
have apologized to them so many times for making that decision. I came across a picture I took during that trip that reminded me of when it was. In my mind, they were babies, but in reality, they were 15, 13, and 10. This is probably a better question for a therapist. For the therapist I don't have. But how bad was the decision to leave them? Should I feel as painfully guilty as I do? They made it to school. I communicated. They communicated. My brothers checked on them. Why do I still feel so terrible? And why are they like 8, 6, and 5 in my brain?
Well,
Edit.
you're worse at math than me.
I just called my now 23-year-old son and asked if he remembered when I left them, and the answer was no. My middle kid came downstairs and asked him, and he said no. So, for all those asking if they care, they don't. They don't remember it happening, nor my subsequent apologies. Now they are making fun of me. So, this is a me problem. I did not traumatize them.
Yes. Just give it another like 10 years until they start to blame you for that one. And good job bringing it up now when they remember it.
Yeah, yeah, they're going to store that one. Right? It's
Yeah,
like a get out of
right.
jail free card right there.
It's funny we forget how individuals and selfish our kids are. And that night that you weren't there, they were probably like, "Oh, this is amazing. You know, who cares? Mom's not here." And they had their own world going on, and you not being there was just like a fraction of it in
It's
reality, especially
probably
with a
true.
15-year-old there.
I mean, there's not too many things that are going to kill a tween in the house. You know, they're just going to come in, watch YouTube, and fall asleep. If anything, they might not get enough sleep. That's like the only thing that would happen
Right.
as long as they have
Right.
food.
Yeah, and there's no, reachable guns or,
Yeah.
anything super dangerous.
But I could definitely imagine, in high school being able to go home and nobody be there. Doesn't seem like a big deal.
Oh, yeah, I know.
As long
My
as there's
parents.
as long as there's food, right?
Hmm.
I would probably
Right, like
panic.
she's like, I pictured them starving and not able to feed themselves, and I'm like, if your 15-year-old doesn't know how to feed himself, then you really did fail way before you went on this trip.
Well, I remember the one time in high school I came home and nobody was in the house. I felt like Kevin McAllister. I was like, "Hello,
How
is
old were
anyone
you?
here?" I mean, it was high school. I was
Oh,
17 or something like that, but there were no cars. There was nobody in the driveway. Nobody was there. They had left for a softball tournament for my sisters, um, but had coordinated a hotel room, had figured out the drive, had coordinated with everybody else, but never told me where they were going
I
to be.
remember this.
Yeah.
I
So
remember this. I remember you being like, dude, no one's here.
I came home and nobody was there, and then I called them, and my dad was just like, "Oh yeah, sorry, we forgot." And in all honesty, I probably could have just survived off of my own bank account. I could have just gone, but I made a big deal about it. I'm like, I don't have any money for food. I don't, how am I going to eat for 4 days or something while you're gone?
Were they like, sorry?
They did completely forget, though. I still remember they had no clue that nobody told me. But again, I was 17. I could drive. I could
Oh,
do
right. They were
do
like, well,
whatever I
did we
needed to
need
do.
to tell you? I mean, who cares? Or where do you think we are?
Yeah,
Where were they? Like softball?
yeah. They went to some tournament down
Yeah.
south somewhere. Yeah,
Oh,
but
that was fun from what I remember.
I mean, it sounds like this person planned it, right? You got somebody checking on them. Probably also had neighbors checking on them. They probably have some sort of support system. And if the 15-year-old is trustworthy, I mean, if you have to go on
It's
a work trip, to keep your job, that's going to be way more important to them than those 4 days.
you're really like it almost feels like you're trying to ask something else because
Hmm.
because they weren't like helpless. They weren't even that young. It was just a night, and they said they don't even remember,
Yeah.
and now they make fun of you for it. So it's like
Well, what was the youngest again? Let me see.
8,
Well, the youngest was 10 at the time.
10, all double digits. And
That's the
why
rule.
are they like 8, 6, and 5 in my brain? Because they're always going to be like I don't know. I don't know that because my kid has every age in my memory when I think about them. And I also just think about them as they are now.
I'd ask more why the ratio of it somehow breaks, and your youngest is
I was just
5
going to
when it
say,
should be.
is the math off with
Yeah,
like her memory? Like, are they not equidistant in age? Like, let me
yeah, 8,
say
8 and
3.
6 is
Oh,
correct, but
right.
it should be 3. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess, I don't know. But I
Or-
called my now 23-year-old son and asked him, and he doesn't even remember it. He was, I guess, 15. He was the 15-year-old.
Yeah, I think so.
He was probably on the phone with his chick, and he probably was like,
I mean, it was
"Mom's not
2016.
here. I'm here by myself."
If it was okay, let's go back. If it was 1994, it would be a lot more difficult to check in and figure things out. But then also, what was the difference between you not being home then, or, I mean, as a kid, you were just out all day anyway. You know what? You know what? The only thing here's the one difference I would say between parents and kids. Kids have no clue what time it is, right?
When do
And
you? When do they start to figure it out?
when they have responsibility, nobody looks at the
Right.
time. If you're on vacation, you don't look at the time. You're just going about the day. And I find that when the kids are away, I don't I don't look at the clock. I have
Oh yeah,
no
no way, never. I
right.
never look at it.
Even if I was working, I don't look at the clock. It was
Yeah, no, I
because I
hate it.
don't have to pick them up from school. I don't have to get them to a sport or anything like that. So yeah,
It's fantastic.
I think that would be the main difference. So the fact that they get to bed would be that's just showing that the 15-year-old is showing some responsibility sometime before midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you give them a pass on that.
Now, next time you should just schedule sleepovers for all those days and then just send them all out and make them somebody else's problem until you get back.
But you should see an actual shrink that you don't have and talk about all this stuff and maybe dig into why you have like all this pretend guilt for an event that like it's all like made up. And it's like, should I feel this guilty? I think she said at one point, it's like, dude, yeah, until you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Well, I
so
mean, you can still feel
subjective.
guilty about it because it was a
Hmm.
tough decision. I mean, you're going to feel guilty about things that aren't even your decision. If you have to
But
send your
you
kids in for surgeries or anesthesia, you feel guilty.
and it's not like you went and like spent a weekend with some guy. You were doing it for work, which pays money to buy the children food.
Right.
One night with their uncles checking in, I think they're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Shouldn't feel guilty. Should
So
actually be like, hey, I'm kind of super momming it here.
yeah, but you shouldn't have told them.
Couldn't
Your only
could
mistake in all of this was asking them.
Yeah, it's gonna backfire.
Yeah, you're gonna catch them with weed or
Once
something, and
they
they're gonna be
or
like, "You left us alone for 4 days."
when they
Total.
find out the world is does not care about them,
Yeah,
they're gonna dig that up
yeah. I mean,
as to why
these are
they can't handle it.
these kids weren't raised on NES. They don't know that there's some impossible level you can't pass, and you can spend your entire life trying to get past it, and the game won't help you.
No.
They're playing 2016 Xbox One nonsense, unlimited lives, and
Right.
easing it up on them. So just
Unreal expectation.
they just didn't have to bleed like we bled. Yeah.
Expectations.
All right, you ready for another one?
Yes. Left my kids alone-ish.
All right. Spin it. Let's take. Oh, left my
Alone
kids
or not
alone.
alone?
We
There's no
did that one, right?
alone-ish.
So don't need that one.
Bonish.
You want me to turn off the confetti and the?
No, I liked it.
Okay. Oh, I got to turn the banner off. All right. Clicky, clicky. Oh, John got shot. Oh, sorry. That was supposed to. I don't know. Alec Baldwin packed
poor
it.
ear.
All right.
Alec Baldwin.
My 11-year-old came home with 55 big ones. Apparently, a kid a couple years younger than him really wanted a necklace/chain he bought from Goodwill. The kid saw it on the bus yesterday and brought money for it today. My kid made quite the profit. I told him we might want to let the parents know because they probably don't want their kid wasting his money like that. LOL. He's mad at me. Am I right? Edit to add because there's really no information there. Apparently, what happened was my kid gave him an outrageous price that he'd be willing to sell it for, and the kid went home and actually got the money for it. LOL. We had to talk. I don't feel like you feel guilty about this if you're laughing out loud about all of it.
Right.
We had to talk about price gouging. Oh, gee. so to speak, and how the kid is too young to understand the value of money properly. My kid did also think his item was worth more. He thought he paid 20-30, but I am sure that he's misremembering. LOL.
LOL. Well, then how are you sure? What do oh, God. These LOLs, these insecure.
I found the mom via Facebook and she appreciated it. She said the boys could work out a more fair price and we hope it was a learning experience for both. It's not. You just made it a non-learning experience.
Socialist.
You just unlearned it.
Dude, you taught your son how to loot. Like, everything is worth what people are willing to pay for it. End of sentence. That's it. Forever and ever.
The kid who brought the money in should be having. It should have been talked about at dinner. Like, I'm going to go buy this necklace tomorrow for $55.
Cash block your son.
That's when the parents should be like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" I mean, if he's going to do it, he's going to do it. That seems fair game.
I wonder how old the other kid is, but it's like the kid went home and got the money. It's like he knew to get the money. Like, he knew to get that amount. If he knows how to get that amount, then he understands. You know what I mean? Like,
why does he have $55? I couldn't find $55.
Nor I.
Who has cash?
Yeah, true. Cash money.
I mean, if he's got it, but yeah, kids don't understand the value, but they know what they want.
Cheap Goodwill item.
There was that old video of a guy and he sits down with a 2 or 3-year-old or something like that, and he puts down stacks of thousands of dollars of bills on one side and like a short stack of Oreos on the other, and he's like, "All right, pick," and the kid just picks the Oreos, and of course he does, right? Because it's not, maybe around 6 or something they might start understanding I can buy more Oreos with the thousands of dollars, right? But they don't quite get it. Like, they have no idea. The kids and I have constantly have discussions about prices of things and stuff like that. So they're starting to get an idea of it. But a year ago, if they had $5, it, it really does burn a hole in their pocket. They're like, I have
Really?
to spend it. And I'm like, you don't like anything in this store.
Oh.
Why are you going to spend your money? Like, I just need to, I need to buy some maple chapstick. And I'm like,
Yeah.
do you really need maple chapstick? Like, yeah, but it's $4.99. Like, that's a really high price for.
Oh my God, is it never-ending chapstick?
But then it's gone. You can't spend it twice, right? So I think it was a good learning experience. Sounds awesome that your son was able to find a market
Haggle.
for it so quickly.
Right, yeah, and thrift store, dude. Some of that stuff people will, like this kid. It was worth $55
Yeah,
to him.
watch it be some Tiffany necklace, and now all of a sudden they're going to try and reverse it again, right? The kid's like, I sold it for $55. The other kid's like, yes, I know. I've been on a collecting site, and I knew that this was actually worth $300,000, right?
Right.
And the parents are like, you need to learn and be fair. It's like, no, this is how markets work.
This is what we're in here.
Yeah, you don't
Do you
know.
want us to play by it or be on the streets?
Or that kid could just turn around and flip it again. He knew a kid that would pay $100 for it. Right? I don't know. It's just,
So yeah, let him keep the money.
yeah.
He's 11.
Or
Don't insult his intelligence.
maybe it was his original necklace and he lost it years ago on a sledding accident, and someone found it and donated it, and it had a lot of emotional baggage.
He had, he had
That one.
amnesia.
He had amnesia, right? And that brought his memory back. So
Aphasia.
for him, it was worth $55. You don't know.
You don't know.
You're only looking at the surface, parents.
Oh gosh, I know. LOL.
Can you imagine having a $55 deal go down on the bus, though? I mean,
Dude, if I was that kid is
that would.
skyrocketing to the top of Wall Street, like by the time whenever he's legally allowed to. Like he's like, oh,
He got
highest.
off and made a PowerPoint presentation called "Greed is Good" and presented it to his graduating class. It's just.
He's
I
like,
mean,
buy these things low.
I remember
Sell them high.
trading tapes but it was more of a borrowing type thing. I don't remember ever trading anything for real. But $55.
No, yeah, or just buying.
I feel like
Tape trading.
everybody at the
traded
school would
shit.
know about that purchase by the end of the day.
You know, and I this is another thing I can't stand. When she's like, he thinks that he paid around 20-30 for it. But I think he's misremembering. Or is he? Like, what if he, or isn't he? Like,
Okay. How many ways can you call your son an idiot? Like,
or yourself.
or just insulting.
Tell me you're an idiot without telling me you're an idiot.
Just leave them be. I don't like all this fairness stuff. It seems like it's between the kids.
Dude, yeah, no.
Like both kids are happy. So I don't get it. I don't get what
Can
you're.
you, and it's, I mean, again, man, Goodwill. You can't go back to Goodwill and find 5 more of those necklaces. That's probably the only one of that one that's there. It's a mishmash of shit.
Yeah.
It's all handed in.
There's a good kids book called A Bargain for Francis. And in A Bargain for Francis, Francis gets tricked into selling her tea set because he thinks it's not a good tea set. And her friend tells her, that's a dumb tea set. I'll buy that off you. And she kind of gets tricked in it. It's a good concept of trust and money and what to do.
Yeah, Dwight talks shit about Andy's Xterra, and then he gets him to lowball it, and then he washes it and resells it for 9 times what it's actually worth.
So these parents need to just.
Yeah, I know. Get your
your
participation trophy attitude out of my face.
Even if it's a mistake,
it's
who
capitalism,
cares?
bitch.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
learn
like
from it, but you can't undo and then learn from it. You can't reverse it and then be like, well, that was a close call. You better watch out. It's like, no, you have to get stung by the bee to not hit the nest.
yeah, it's also like if I tell you that's bad, it's like it's almost like you need to like get caught in that thing, like the parents of the kid, like he stole the money out of my purse, and how dare your son accept the money? Like
Well,
we
that
would
would add
never
a
let him. Then it gets like, okay, shit, fuck. But if the parents aren't making a stink, who the hell cares?
yeah. And like I said, it might have been a good trade. Maybe it's worth $55 to him. They're saying that he doesn't know the worth of it.
That's the overall stink on this whole letter here.
Mm.
Not only that she's talking shit about her son and like, I don't know, slowing his progression. She doesn't know. She thinks she's like an expert here on like negotiating and haggling, but she's really not. Like you
Mm.
said, she's like trying to be fair, and fair has nothing to do with this.
Right.
It's just an exchange.
Why isn't she going back to the Goodwill and asking them why they sold it to her son for $20 or $30? Like, why is that an okay price for it? Shouldn't you go and undo that as well? Like your son spent $20 or $30. Of course, he always misremembers, but why was that interaction okay? What if he spent $60 on it and then sold it for 55? What's the lesson there?
Yeah, I mean,
Is
it's
that
just
fair?
like it's like if he sold it for $1, then what would she call the parents and be like, "Your son gave my son $1 for his
That's
new necklace." It's
that's what I
like,
mean. Like if it was the
he,
inverse, right?
it was worth $1. Yeah,
Right. So is that still unfair?
right, right. So you are the master of coin, 2030, but I
The
think you're
master of coin.
misremembering.
The master of
You're
coin.
so yeah, butt out. I think your son has already surpassed you.
It sounds awesome. That's a
Buy
quick.
low,
That
sell
sounds like a
high.
quick flip. Um,
If you notice him bringing home a lot of bags with the Goodwill logo on it, don't be surprised.
yeah, go
That
for
little
it.
G half smiley face.
I'd also just be like, thanks for not cluttering up our house with a bunch of junk we don't need.
Yeah.
Flip it. Flip it. I mean, people do that all over the place. He's probably just learning business early on.
There's like 20 apps. There's probably more. There's probably 50. Buy my shit.
We brought the kids to Goodwill for the first time, and they were moaning and
We're disturbed.
complaining the whole way there. Like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm like, guys, just come in.
Wait.
Let's see what's in there. And this was when we were on vacation too, so I was very excited because I can go to the Goodwill by
It's
me, but
treasure.
it has all of our stuff. Like all the things that
Oh.
are of value in Philadelphia are not the same things that are of value in rural Virginia. So
Ooh.
I'm like, let's get out there and see. Let's see what this Goodwill
Any
has to offer.
any weird camp shirts?
I didn't. I didn't get it. I didn't get too far into the clothes, but there was some good like old movies and stuff like that. And the kids found like a bag of toys. It was perfect for the road trip. It
Oh,
was like a full Ziploc bag just full of different toys, Hot Wheels, cars, a Spider-Man car, like all these things. And Ruby
damn
got
it.
this whole big thing of all these what is it, like a dollhouse, like tiny dishes and forks and stuff for a dollhouse, and she was
Ah,
over the moon.
yes. Hannah
It
loves
was
those.
so anyway,
That's
but
radical.
yeah, radical,
That sounds radical. Very
but
radical.
it is fun to go there. And then I flipped it
I
for
flipped that shit.
profit.
Put profit on the black market.
I flipped it 3x. All right, let's see.
Oh, 3x. Oh no. Oh no, no.
No more
Oh
Goodwill.
no.
All right. Oh man, it's hypnotic.
Oh no, no. No, no.
Oh, that's the one I didn't prepare. All right. Won't take now. All right. All right, let's try this. I couldn't think of a better title, but today after
Ooh.
softball practice, my daughter and I stopped by 7-Eleven to buy a lotto ticket. Huge jackpot right now. It was
Nerd.
4:30 p.m. and at the counter, my daughter asked if I would buy her a Snickers bar. I said no, it's too close to dinner time. My daughter said, "Oh, okay." A Karen behind us said, "I'll buy her the candy bar." I said, "Thanks, but no thanks." Again, she said, "I want to buy her the candy bar." I then said, if I wanted my daughter to have a candy bar, she would have one, but we don't eat Snickers before dinner. She then looks to my daughter and says to her, "Little girl, do you want the candy bar?" My daughter didn't answer. We walked out the door. Moments later in the parking lot, she yells out to us, "I bought you the Snickers," waving it around. LOL.
Psycho.
I fought off the natural urge to tell her to leave us the F alone since I was with my 7-year-old. I'm male, 45 years, and she was 70, if anyone is interested in that. Has this ever happened? Okay. She's 70. That you could have
What?
led with that. You buried the lead on that one,
He
bud.
did bury the lead, but still, I don't give a shit. Age schmage. Don't just. It's also like, do you not remember this whole situation? This is going to ruin my night now. Okay, my night has now been destroyed because of your candy bar.
I would have taken the Snickers and just eaten it myself. Like I
That
was
would have.
taking a bullet. Do you know?
See, I give the initial knee jerk reaction, and then you're like, well, actually, the smarter move would be this.
I just walk up to her and just open it
I'm
up
like,
right in front
fuck
of her
you.
and just
Yeah, like, oh, that. Actually, you know what? You can buy that Snickers. Here you go. And as she's handing it to your daughter, you just intercept it.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. It would be like
Inhale it in one
yeah.
bite, even though it hurts.
It would be like Shawn Michaels turning on Hulk Hogan, right? I would just be nobody would see it coming, and then and I just stand there and just let her watch me eat it for a while.
Yeah, of course. I would. Yeah, you would chew it right in her face.
like there's a camera zoomed up on me from somewhere. I mean, okay. If she was 69, I'd give you the benefit, but she's 70. So she hit the range, and candy is just the language of the elderly, of the older, the grandparents. She's probably a grandparent. A kid wants candy, a kid wants ice cream. She's got some cash. She wants to give. She wants to give back. She wants to give to the youth. And there's nothing you can really do about it. But you should just. I still think yes. I would have taken it, and I would have said I would have given it to her. Then we would have got in the car. I would have told her about cavities and spoiling her dinner, and she would have already agreed. And I would have said I took it from the lady because she was trying to do a nice thing and I wanted to make her feel good. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win all around. Your daughter learns that she can't spoil her dinner. The old lady gives you gets to give a gift and feel good for the rest of the day. And then we get home and I find a quiet corner of the kitchen and I just eat the crap out of that Snickers bar. And then I get a Snickers bar. So it's all good.
If the old lady said something like, I want to buy her a candy bar. I used to have grandchildren
Oh.
and my own children. but they all perished in a plane crash, and now I don't give candy to anyone. So could
Last
I give
Tuesday.
yours? Yeah, right. Could I give your daughter candy? If she did said that, okay, yeah, fine. I feel bad for you. But it's like, I want to give her a candy bar. That's when I'm like, I don't care what you want to do to my child. And then I smash her in the face with a punch like this.
And yet on Halloween, anything goes.
On the Halloween, anything goes.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been funny if she's if at the very end
I
he,
want to
he he
buy.
just wrote, oh, and the date was October 31st. If anyone cares.
uh, Woman would not take no for an answer. Yeah, that's also another thing. Who pushes when someone says no to them?
Old people who want to buy
And
who want to
young
give little
people.
kids candy. Yeah. I mean, when we'd visit my grandparents, I mean, we're talking this is the kids' great grandparents, right? And then they just had this bowl, they had a whole bowl of Snickers, and they're just like, you kids can have as much as you want.
A bowl of Snickers bars?
Like the little fun size, you know, but
Oh,
like a
not
a
so fancy.
bowl set out in the middle of the room.
Oh,
And
just
they're like, we can't. The other thing is, they said, like, we can't eat it. If I eat that, you know, my teeth are gonna pop out. They're like,
oh,
we can't enjoy it, so we want you to enjoy it.
yeah.
And you know,
Well,
so
good for you.
the kids jumped into it and they're eating it, and then after their first two or something like that, they came over and were like, "Can I have another one?" I was like, "Well," and they're like, "Yes, you can." You know, like because I was getting outranked. Can't do anything at that point.
Outranked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm on their turf. It's not like we're in our house. So
Yeah, yeah. That's a
they're
thing.
like they're like when you're with your great grandmother, you can have as many as you want. I'm like, I can't really argue with that logic. It kind of makes perfect sense.
Great
Oh, I don't
grandmother.
I don't like the
It's
fallout.
not
You
like
know,
they hang out every day.
it stinks hanging out with the fallout. And okay, but here's one more twist to this. Do candy bars really spoil dinner?
No, it's not about spoiling dinner. It's just
That's what you said.
their behavior. Behavior is nuts.
But if you're gonna go have dinner right after, you can get some fiber in there and battle the sugar down.
Yeah, I mean it could be a pound of sugar in a sack, and I think the point of I want to give her a candy bar. It's like I want to do a lot of things.
This could have been
Go
one of those really
find
good.
another little kid to buy a Snickers bar for.
Just
You
give it to just
creepy
give it to anyone
old
else.
lady.
You bought it.
You're very creepy. I mean, you have a hook.
Well,
You're missing an eye.
that's what
You're
I'm thinking.
drooling. So back off.
What if this was just the opening to a horror movie? Just a
Right.
simple. This would be a great opening. You know,
See,
because
you're
it's.
picturing like a sweet old lady. I'm picturing a witch because that's my experience.
I think that. Well, I think it's scarier if she's a sweet old lady. You know, because
Oh,
it's
yeah, good
more
point.
hidden. But if you just
Yeah,
started
I'm generic.
if you started
Very 80s.
a horror movie like this, it's like I'll get it. Like just start a horror movie with an
Oh,
awkward
yeah.
situation, right? That's oddly escalating like this.
Makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, where she comes
That's
out in the
really
parking lot.
good.
I bought you a Snickers, and you're like, oh my
Or,
god,
or,
like
or
grandma.
like someone who's too forward with a pet, like, come sit on my lap. It's like,
Yeah,
we're taking a walk.
yeah.
No,
You can't
no.
just do
I'm in
things,
a
right?
rush. Like, I have stuff to do later. We're not just going to stop and let my dog sit on your lap, you creep.
And you get all the way home, and you realize your daughter's not in the back. It's some sort of weird straw doll, and then you don't know what happened, and then nobody remembers, nobody saw the lady, and then you just look down and you find a Snickers wrapper, and it's just like the dad's just looking around the parking lot, and you just see the wrapper like blow away, and oh my gosh, that would be good. That would be a good opening.
I wrote the first like minute, I guess, or maybe 2 minutes of like not like 2 minutes, but like the first 2 pages worth of a scene from like the 3 different perspectives of
Mhm.
that neighborhood that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Remember, you're like, just start going, just go,
Yeah,
just
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 do it.
put the pen down and go.
Yep.
And I was like, I love when they do that in movies. Where I love that when they did it in Lost, when they showed stuff from like 3 different perspectives, uh, the same thing,
Yeah.
but it's all like a mystery. So that was really fun. But I think I want to add in a scene like that, though. Let me, someone who's too forward.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's unsettling.
it's unsettling. It's kind of the formula for Curb a little bit, right? Like for Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's a bit like just find these small
Yeah, that's what it got kind of
seed,
like.
right?
Wow. He's filling every little hole of like, yeah, awkward human behavior.
It's good though. I like it.
Did you watch the last season? Like you liked it all the way up to the end? Because I
Oh,
kind of bailed.
I haven't watched most of it,
Oh, okay, good. Me neither.
but I appreciate it. I just
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah, yeah.
The science of it. After a while, I can't. It just hurts my stomach to keep watching it. It's too many.
I
It's
know.
too much awkwardness. I can't. It's not my. Or I enjoy it, I have to stop. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
I don't laugh out loud.
I can't.
I'm like, I have to look away sometimes, and that's not what
I,
I'm here to enjoy. I'm here to
uh,
look at it the whole
it,
time.
it's like anxiety on the TV, and I just can't.
Hmm.
It,
Anxiety humor.
yeah, it's anxiety humor, right? Just social awkwardness.
I
So
heard some hip YouTuber say that the other day.
what?
Anxiety humor.
Anxiety humor. Yeah, makes sense. Ricky Gervais is kind
Yeah,
of like
there's a bunch of guys. Yeah, Ricky Gervais, Steve Carell, they all like do that. It's like they're awkward and uncomfortable, and
yeah,
it
like
makes. But they're not. They're not. It's like they're
yeah,
not at
they're
all.
not right. Yeah,
Right. They should
that's
be.
why you can see it from the outside
Yeah.
when he's like tipping the homeless guy. He's like, it's probably the most you've ever gotten. The guy's like, because all he had was a large
Assholes.
bill. It's so good.
I have to.
It's good for
I
like
have to
three or
make
four
a pee pee
passes.
break
Okay.
real quick. I've been holding it for 20 minutes.
Break time. Yeah, I'll get this going too. Wheel of luck. It's starting to get. I'll take no. And then there were full. Break. 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 No viewers.
Oh,
Ole mole.
oh, that was God, at least a pound. At least a pound Viennese.
Baroness. All right, we're down to 4.
Ooh,
Spin.
guess.
No.
Oh,
This is a long one. And I didn't prep this one. John's dead again.
sometimes I don't check if you can see me or not
This one,
before I lay back.
I have my screen vertical, right? So my screen's on its side, and this is going all the way down.
Weird. Vertical weirdo. You tech guys always do something first that's like weird, and then everyone does it.
Oh
except
yeah,
maybe the new screen.
I do enjoy it. Yeah, it works well.
It makes sense. It's almost most more like a newspaper.
All right. If you need to take and if you need to interrupt because this is
I
some.
may like chime in, but it may not. If
I need
I
to
want to like
stretch.
say something long, I'll just say, "Hold on."
All right. I don't have it on. I don't have this for on screen. My
Okay.
daughter's boyfriend has been stealing from us.
Oh
I'm
no.
so out of depth in this situation. Sorry, this post is going to be long. I'm trying to get my thoughts out. What I'm able to put in this post is only half of the story with this kid. This situation has been getting worse and worse. I have 3 children: an 18-year-old son, 16-year-old daughter, and 10-year-old son. Hey, is this the same person as the other? Oh no, it was 23-year-old.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
No, it's close though.
that would have been so great.
Not about
Nah.
about about a year and a half ago, my eldest son befriended a boy I'm going to refer to as Max, 17. Max didn't go to my son's school, and he was always vague about how he and Max became friends. After Max was introduced to us, he suddenly seemed to be around our house all the time. It also became fairly obvious that my daughter had a crush on Max, and 5 months ago I found out they were dating.
First
My
guy.
daughter was only 15 at the time, whereas Max was already 17. I'd always tried not to be judgmental about Max, and for the most part I felt bad for him as he clearly came from a bad home and didn't have a lot of money. It was strange to me that a boy like Max would befriend my son as they seemed like they would be in different social circles. Max is confident and mature. He initially struck me as very polite and generous, despite the fact when I overhear him talking to mine and other kids, he is very vulgar with his language and topics of conversation. There was always something about him that put me on edge. He never answered any personal questions about himself, and when he did, he would lie, as we would find out later. It wasn't It wasn't until he started dating our daughter that we found out his parents aren't in the picture, and he lives with an older brother. He also
Oh,
lied about where he went to school. He said in a different town, but I once saw him in a store during school hours, and after asking why he wasn't in school, he claimed to be homeschooled. I could easily write a whole essay about how uncomfortable my daughter's relationship with Max has become, but I want to get to the point. We started to notice that Max
thank you.
was. What?
I said thank you.
Oh. We started to notice there's like 18 paragraphs still.
I know.
We started to notice that Max was maybe taking food about a year ago. Neither my husband or I wanted to say anything because we didn't want him to feel uncomfortable and felt if a teenager is taking food, they probably need it. Going forward, I noticed some other stuff going missing, but it still wasn't anything even remotely expensive. Both my husband and I had our suspicions, but we never saw anything that we could concretely say he was doing. All our kids' friends hang out at our house, and it could have been any one of them. Back in May, one of the chef's knives went missing. We looked everywhere for it, grilled our kids, and turned our whole house upside down, but it was gone. Would you have to turn your whole house upside down for a chef's knife? I mean,
Knife.
just because it's normally doesn't, you're not going to find that in between the couch cushions or something.
Sometimes you do throw knives out by accidente.
I guess, yeah. I always misplace my knives, but it was gone. My
Yeah,
husband was
right.
fuming and was certain Max had taken it.
I'm always unsure where they are.
I can never, I think I've got 4, but
I
if
can
one
never
went
find my
missing,
knives.
where are my knives? I sent them out for shopping. Um, The next time Max came to our house, he accused him. I guess her husband accused him, and they argued about it. Max seemed really hurt and baffled that my husband would accuse him. He left, and we didn't see him for a while. At that point, I genuinely believed Max hadn't taken it, and a couple weeks later, it turned up in a drawer that we had definitely checked multiple times. Max,
Duh.
duh. Max hadn't been in our
Someone
house.
snuck it back.
Max hadn't been in our house that entire time.
Yes, but your daughter has.
she's
Unless you
she's
kicked her out.
she's flipping chef's knives on the black market for $55 a piece on her bus. 7 weeks ago, my husband and I went away for a weekend, and we allowed our teens to have a small party.
Uh-oh.
They'd had parties in the past without much of an issue. Looking at the Ring camera, things seemed fine at first. A bunch of kids arrived between 7 and 9.
Wait, did they say they weren't there?
Yeah, they're saying 7 weeks ago, my husband and I went away for a weekend, and we allowed our teens to have a small party.
What?
This just took like a left turn. They're like, they're robbing us. We're also letting them drink and stay at the...
I mean, I'm sure it's coming.
Maybe they
'Cause, like,
called it a
what
gathering.
Did they think they weren't going to drink? That would be the best part. We were stunned to find kegs in the front yard. Oh, but they're teenagers. What did you think they were going to do?
Like
At the
left,
very worst.
completely left alone.
Assume the worst. Right.
A bunch of kids arrived between 7 and 9. I recognized almost all of them. However, things changed at 11 when I noticed a lot more kids seemed to start turning up. One of them was
weird.
Max, and he had about 10 kids I'd never seen before. But this must have been such a relaxing weekend away for you guys.
I know. Watching
You're just sitting
Max
there watching the Ring camera.
His friends from prison show up.
This is that party in Saved by the Bell where they do drugs. Like, hey, Kelly, have some of this. All right.
They drank.
Did they drink in that? I thought he passed
Yeah, I
her
think
weed.
They drink and then they drive.
Okay. There's no hope with dope. All right. One of them was Max, and he had about 10 kids.
Sorry.
I'd never seen before with him. Around midnight, my neighbor texted telling me things seemed a little crazy at our house. I called my brother and asked if he could swing by and make sure everything was all right.
Oh,
He brought a couple of his buddies with him.
Oh gosh, losers.
Things were apparently pretty intense when he got there, and my son was actually happy to see him. They shut down the party and told everybody to go home. He went looking for my daughter and found her in her room with Max and a few of his male friends. My daughter was drunk, and there was cocaine on my daughter's desk. She later claimed it was just the boys doing it, and brother agreed she didn't seem high. After my brother entered the room, he ended up getting into a physical fight with Max, where
I knew it.
where he had his head slammed against the wall. I don't know who he is in that sentence.
I know pronouns, pal. Damn it.
We spend all these time on pronouns.
Pronouns, pal.
Wait, but you didn't actually use them.
Come on, we're on Reddit. Jesus.
We
him,
obviously
her, they, them. He
Is it
being
the
Max's head or the brother's head?
I'll try and read it. After my brother entered the room, he ended up getting into a physical fight with Max where he had hit. I think they're saying the brother where he had hit.
Yeah, he must be the subject.
He had hit. He actually wrote he had his head. Wait, he had his head slammed against the wall.
He had his head.
He had his head. He had his head.
He done had his
head.
He done had his head slammed up against the wall. So maybe she'll explain that further.
We obviously had lots of... No, it just jumps right next to the... We
Thank
obviously
you.
had lots of conversations with our kids when we got home. I feel like they should have a conversation with you. Like, you left,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sorry guys, that's on you. You left us here.
Do you know how many teenager parties that the parents aren't home at end up okay?
Goose egg.
Yes.
I mean,
Dramatic
something
ensue.
bad is going to happen. But
It's just too much energy.
you also invited it. That's kind of weird. At least let your kids plan it secretly.
That's why I'm like, I'm surprised they were surprised. But now I'm like, oh, well, then not now I'm not because you let it happen in the first place. Coos.
So so John, you come home let's just say you didn't invite them to have a party, but they have a party at your house and there's cocaine on the table. What's that conversation going to be like? Like, it's all shut down.
I'm like, don't touch it and get out. And then I scoop it into a sack.
And sell it at the Goodwill for a profit.
And then I just remove this Max kid who can't tell you where he goes to school. Like he's new. This is instability at its finest. Like this guy is either going to become like the next, member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers or where. I mean, he shows up with his thugs. They're doing coke. How old's your daughter again?
15.
Yeah, I mean, God. Like they need more energy. Like, do you know how much that drug will mess up a kid that young? They're already running 1,000,000 miles an hour, and that drug just like is just unnecessary gas. That
Bagel
kid is no
bites.
good.
The only drug they should be on is bagel bites.
That's as bad as it should get.
17.
It's as poisonous
Who
as they could.
ate the entire tray of bagel bites? Max did. God damn it. Okay. We obviously had lots of conversations with our kids when we got home. My son essentially blamed the whole escalation of the party on Max, who he claimed told a bunch of people my son didn't even know about the party.
Nice. Good for the son. Good for the
Yeah.
son. Throw that piece of shit under the bus. And his 10 friends. Who shows up with 10 guys? God, what a sword fight. Instant.
You've broken the ratio.
Oh, God. Yeah, you destroyed the ratio.
It's off.
Tip the scales to the penis.
There's no balance in the false.
No. Yucky.
Yucky. And just boring. Like, it's just, what's the difference between what you were doing before and now this party?
It reminds me of like anybody else who was there who was expecting like a good ratio. It like became a Dagon party when those guys showed up.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, it's one thing I'll always respect the frats for doing. Like when you'd try to get into a party at the frats, you'd have to bring 2 to 1. So you'd have to bring 2 girls in.
Sorry, guys. And then like you'd see like 10 guys leave out like the back door and you'd be like, yo, guys, they just left. And then be like, okay, fine. Like, me and DeWitt can go in.
It should be, there's just like they should just have a screen showing.
Yeah, right. The amount of peni.
It should be like a boarding, like the boarding line at the airport. Like,
yeah. Cock counter. Or at the train. Like the turnstiles.
Oh my gosh. All right. It's so long, I don't know where I'm at. Okay. He blamed the whole thing on Max, who claimed. Okay. He said he confronted Max, but he threatened him. And he was worried what Max would do if he tried to get people to leave. It was at this point our son. Did you follow that? I think Max threatened him.
And it was just the boy and Max. And he was like, I can't tell Max to leave because Max is a thug.
Yeah, because
who is Max?
Although he's older than him.
He's like
the son's 18.
Oh. Well, they're
It
still
doesn't
10.
guarantee he's bigger than him or anything. And
And
not with
Max,
10 friends.
and isn't Max a little older?
No, Max is 17.
Okay, whatever. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's 10 on 1.
Oh, those parties were always so much fun. Where there was a planned fight. It's like, I guess we're not going to go into this one.
I always would leave with some pretty girl that would be like, they're going to fight. Do you want to get out of here and smoke pot? And I'd be like, sure, I'll be that guy. I don't need to watch a fight anyway.
They were
It's
going
like
to
a
fight
fight.
me.
It's like after a couple minutes, it's like, do you jump in? Like what? Nope, nope. I can't even watch.
It
You know
always
those
fell
guys.
down a weird line of
Is
how
someone
like
gonna
how much of a
die?
friendship and how much did you actually deserve some of it, it's tough to defend other people.
It's like we're in high school, guys. Did words not work? Did we just not even? Why are we doing this? What happened?
Right, like we're out of ideas to figure
Yeah,
things out and work through them, yet we can schedule this,
right.
right? Like what?
And everyone knows about it. Spread the word. We can
Right.
advertise.
So we're super productive and efficient, except for actually fixing the actual problem. All right.
Dude, I like how the title is "My daughter's boyfriend has been stealing from us," and not "My daughter's boyfriend was doing cocaine on her, makeup desk,
No,
her
the chef's
vanity."
knife. The chef's knife is where it's at. That's
Yeah, chef's knife and cocaine were buried in this story.
not found my daughter with thug boyfriend and f- drunk with 10 guys in her room
Yeah, in her room.
on ring camera. Um
Yeah, that's the funny thing. They're like, "Oh, why don't you just jump in the ring camera and be like, get out, guys, get out."
it was at this point our son spilled a whole lot of information about Max we didn't know about. He doesn't go
Mhm.
to any school because he ran away from his legal guardian, his grandpa, to live with his barely adult brother at 15. Apparently, his mom committed suicide. My son says he was taking stuff from our house and did steal the knife, but asked our son to put it back so he could
The
start coming
sun.
around again. As my son kept talking, he said he felt like he accidentally joined a cult when he became friends with Max, and that Max is friends with a bunch of older guys, at least one of which sells drugs. At this point, Max was obviously banned from our house for good, and although our son happily agreed never to see him again, it was different with our daughter. We tried to get her to understand why we don't want her seeing him, and in the end, we've had to keep an uncomfortably close eye on where she's going and who she is seeing. A week ago, my son came home with a bruise on his chin. He said Max had shown up at a birthday party he was at. They got into an argument and then a physical fight. Yesterday, after my son came home from school, he noticed his PS5 was missing. He, he called me to ask if his dad or I had taken it. When I came home to check, nothing else was missing, just the PS5. Just the PS, actually, it says there. Just the PS. It,
Psst.
does, it doesn't look like anybody broke in, and we have had a lot of other valuable things. Valuably is valuably a word? I don't think so. Valuable things laying around that were left
Valuably.
alone. Valuably. I would name a store valuably. That would be good.
Valuably delicious.
Valuably things. When my husband came home, we agreed that we thought it was Max. No, well, okay, good job. I'm glad you guys agree. My husband wants to contact the police, but for right now, he hasn't.
Yeah.
Although hopefully my daughter hasn't seen Max in a while. They are definitely still together as my daughter messages and calls him constantly. She was hysterical at the idea of us contacting the police. I don't know what to do. The whole situation is such a mess. I want to do what's right for everybody. including Max, but I have no idea what that is. I want Max out of my kids' lives, but at the same time, my heart hurts for him.
Oh my god. Well, you know, that is I do not envy that situation at all. Like this seems fucking brutal. Because I don't know firsthand, but like a relative of mine and their boyfriend or maybe girlfriend, I can't really remember which, but it doesn't matter. Their family hated him and they were like, it was like driving away. Like, he was like maybe in his lower 20s, early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and at the spot where like, F him, I'm not going to Thanksgiving. And I'm like, oh God, please no. Figure a way around it. See eye to eye. Because God, with that shit, man, there's so much behind that couple staying together now. It
Mm-hmm.
more than ever than just we're attracted to each other.
Yeah.
It becomes like this, I don't even know, this my own person kind of thing.
Mm.
So that is like just brutal, but like, uh, the cocaine. It's like, dude, how can you? I mean, they can't let him message him, and they gotta call the cops. Yeah, like they gotta like do all they can to just make it real tough for them to interact, so she can like go on. She's 15. She's got like some big steps laying ahead,
Right.
and this guy is probably gonna make it mucky if he's anywhere attached to her. So I'd probably like stage a way to catch him stealing,
Yeah. I mean,
catch him in the act, because he's going to, but you have to get him.
well, how is he getting into the house?
I don't know. Don't they have a ring cam?
Yeah. That seems odd. I mean,
Insane.
it seems like you should call the police no matter what. And just because you think it's Max doesn't mean that the police. I mean, it's not like the police are like, "Wait, you guys think it's this Max kid? Let's go arrest him." Like that's not
Right, I know.
like you can't just say like, "Oh, it was
It was him.
it
Yep,
was
go
this
get him.
guy I don't like at work." Go get him.
He's mean.
Um,
He's bad.
yeah, you need evidence, but
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you got to catch him because he's going to. So it's almost like she's got to like let him know that they're all not going to be there, and then just like put some cameras up.
the chef's knife is still bothering me. I still don't get it. Like I don't understand how you steal the chef's knife and then you offload a chef's knife and then
Well, he wasn't allowed back.
no, I mean just well, what's the game plan? Like what are you going to do with a chef's knife? Like maybe there's a big second market. I don't know.
No, I mean, who
Like
knows? Maybe he is a
17,
culinary,
you know. You're
either for
probably
protection
you're
or he's
thinking
like, one of those guys that like loves to cook and that's his real passion, but he can't get his
ah
shit together.
he was trying to start a food truck
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
yeah.
His own food truck.
That
10
wasn't
guys.
cocaine. That
Oh,
was he was getting
that was,
some
it was
high
flour.
high gluten flour to start a bread business.
Sourdough.
And he was just organizing the local kids in the community. Those were his
Right,
workers, the 10
right.
guys.
Those were his sous chefs,
Hmm.
his rollers,
Right,
sandwich rollers,
right.
slice
And
the meat.
business had been up, and Max felt bad about any trouble he had caused for the family and all these misunderstandings. And he was getting his son's. He was replacing the son doesn't have a name. The son the son's PS5 with a PS5 Pro as a way to say thank you. So he was just upgrading it. It's good. It's nice. It's a good ending. I'm very happy that it was such a positive and happy ending. There's no way you're
Oh,
going to break them up
yeah.
with the daughter, though. I mean, you can't be like your band and have the daughter go, "Oh, well, that makes him much less attractive."
Yeah, I know. I know. So yeah, you got to just hope that like he becomes unable to communicate. But then like, is she gonna? Is she like a kind of girl that like will try to like communicate with him in jail? It's like, what's? I need some more info about the dad.
I mean, she's also 15, so whatever kind of girl she is 3 years in. You know? Like she's not,
Yeah, true.
you know what I mean?
I know she
Um,
doesn't know shit.
yeah. So it's going to come down more to about just trusting her, like to for her to make good decisions.
It's like when it started, it was like she's 15, her brother brings over this friend who's nothing like her brother, and the girl has a crush, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like as soon as she's probably starting to get crushes for real, you know. It's the first guy,
Yeah.
the
First
first
love.
bad boy that her brother brings over.
But why are you letting them? I mean, why are you letting them have parties at the house? Like, I still don't like. You just
Yeah,
blew right past that. Like, we like to have the kids throw small gatherings while we're not there. There's
we're the
plenty of
fun house.
room. They can use the king size bed. Have a nice sleepover. Like, what do you? What is your? You've set up an environment that is not like you kind of gave like I don't really understand how there's not a paragraph in here where the son's like, why did you leave for the weekend and then tell Max to come over? Like I feel
The title of this should have been, I asked I asked my daughter's boyfriend and his friends to rob us because I let them have a party when
it's
I
an
wasn't there.
insurance claim. Yeah, this is all
Like,
just insurance fraud.
God, yeah.
This whole thing. This is all just to get. This is just one long thing, just to have an insurance
Long
claim on a
con.
broken PS5. Like it's past warranty. You shoved the wrong disc into it,
She like
and
disguised it,
and you wrote this whole thing out about this made up character Max
dude. That's amazing.
just so you could submit it to a
That
claim.
would be such like a silly short movie or whatever, you know, like to disguise the main plot like that. Like, oh no, it's about this kid stealing. Oh, it's the daughter, and there's so much
Oh
drama.
my gosh.
It's really because our PS5 broke and we didn't want to pay.
Yeah, it was past warranty.
What a con.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty
Pretty good.
amazing.
It is kind of. I mean, just the fact that it was PS5 it just seemed very
It was like,
particular
ooh,
at the very
man.
end. It was very Shyamalan.
I can't believe you can. Isn't it like really hard to steal those? Like, can't you just find where they are? Like, aren't they like cell phones that you can like track them,
Hmm. Yeah, they might be registered.
ping
So,
them or whatever? Yeah, right. Like they have their own IP address.
and I think they cost money to just even use. So, and how did the Ring camera not come in handy during a home invasion?
I know. I swear, it's like they were watching them. And they're like, oh. It's like, how about you get them out of town? I remember my parents would leave, and a couple times we had parties. Rarely did it get out of hand. I mean, it could have gotten out of hand
It could
sometimes
have,
when Rye's group was over there.
but there
Rise,
was always there
Rise
was
is
always like a worry in the back of your head. Like,
yeah. I was like, I don't want to get I don't want to get caught.
yeah,
I'll be things taken away from me.
yeah. But I would just shut it down myself. Like if things were ever to get out of hand, I'd just be like, all right, I'm calling. Like I'm just gonna face the
Yeah,
music rather than because at least you'll get the bonus points from when parents come back and be like, look, I'm an idiot. I had a party, started getting out of control. I shut it down. Commence punishment. Like, we're done. There's got to be like some level of respect where it's not your uncle stopping by and finding you in a room with cocaine. Like now you don't really have
Yeah.
much to explain yourself out
No
of it.
legs. You
No
have no legs.
legs.
You have
No
no
legs.
legs. Ching, 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 ching.
Ching ching ching.
You have no legs.
You have no legs.
But you know what? Yeah, mom and dad, you have no legs to stand on. I need more information about this dad.
Yeah. This was
Why is the
7
daughter
weeks
going
ago.
for a douche? 7 weeks ago.
They went on the weekend 7 weeks ago.
Like by the date on this thing?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, I mean they said 7 weeks ago we went on a weekend.
All right. Wow. Well, gosh, that is dramatic. But yeah, your first mistake was. It's like the kids are kind of lawless, not governed.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the son's trying to implement law,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess he's sort of friends with Max. But then I guess that just deteriorates.
Yeah. There's no way. Yeah, they're not friends anymore. They fought, unless they make up. But
Well, no,
hopefully, Max
you could
is
be
like,
best friends after fighting, right? It's not.
or you could just be like, "We're done.
Yeah, yeah. It's that
Screw
simple.
you. Stay away from me."
A bruise on your
Hopefully,
chin after a
hopefully for
birthday
Max
party.
or not Max. What's the son's name? They didn't give it.
They didn't
Damn.
give us. Yeah, it's like the Berenstain Bears. He's just brother. He's just son. Which always bothered me because I don't understand why they named him Brother Bear
And
before
Sister
Sister Bear
Bear,
was born.
and
What was it?
then
What
yeah,
was he called first?
and
Like,
then the baby has like a name. It's not Baby Bear.
I don't
It's
believe
like Maria.
it's like Honeycomb or something, or Honey or something.
Some laziness. Oh, yeah, Honey Bear.
I think the son wrote the baby in, and then he went back and retroactively added the baby into every story.
The son.
The son of the author. It's a whole
Oh,
conspiracy. Well, I guarantee you, one day the Berenstein Bear conspiracy will blow up, and everyone like there's going to be some Netflix special on the bear. Like there's got to be some sort of dark murder past in that thing because
Wizard of Oz type shit.
just the animosity from the dad. Like there's a major divorce in there somewhere. Like the mom
Oh
and the dad.
God,
When
yeah,
you read those books, like there is
dude.
static electricity.
The ones I got, I didn't remember it being so religious. Like
Oh
some
yeah,
of them,
some
some
of
of
them
them
are.
went down like, whoa. I was like, all right. I know this is going to be loaded with questions. I don't want to do this right now.
I think they started that way. I think that was like the actual purpose
Uh,
of them. And then I think the dad passed away, and then I think the wife started writing them, and then the son started writing them, and then the son just like cash cowed
but
it.
Butch,
Yeah,
Butcher, Billy Butcher.
forget what the baby's name is. I think it is like Honey or something.
It's like Honey Bear. Honey Bear.
It's lazy.
It's
I
all lazy.
hate the attic one. I hate the one
Papa.
where they sell. They try to get rid of their stuff, but then they are still attached to it, so then they don't do anything, and it just ends. There's like no moral in it whatsoever. They're just like, all right, like, just go. It's like they have a yard sale, but it's like false
Oh
advertising.
right, I
They
remember
never
that.
have a yard sale in the whole book.
Yeah, they're like the moral is don't let go.
The moral is hoard.
Yeah, right. Be a hoarder
Be a hoarder.
in a tree.
Don't let anyone tell you. Well, the other thing is throughout the book,
Overalls.
they're like, get rid of your junk, and then you can see this anger inside the characters that are, it's like, well, this was like my bowling trophy. Who's gonna buy it? And I kind of like it, and yeah, it's broken a little bit, but they're like, get rid of your junk, Papa Bear. Get it outside right now and put a 5-cent sticker on it.
No one takes it. Throw it out.
Right.
smash it
We need
or
space up in this
donate it.
dusty attic where we have 4 things and we're out of space. All right. We got,
Oh, right. They went up into the attic. That was a good one until the end. Yeah,
yeah.
until they all chickened out.
Yeah. And then it just
I
fell
was like,
apart
no,
and then they
get
were
rid of
fine.
it. If it's been up in the attic for a year, you can live without it.
The ripped pillow. I don't know why they kept the ripped pillow.
Oh, God, sentimental.
All right. Here we go. Oh. It's a weird one to have confetti. That didn't land right. The grieving being a mom wasn't right. You all right? Oh, he got shot again. Damn it.
In the gut.
Need the safety.
Grieving.
Here's a quick one.
Grieving the parenting experience I thought I would have. Grieving the parenting experience I thought I would have. What the fuck? Like, who grieves potential? Now, maybe, okay, let's read it. Let's give it a chance.
Okay.
But I had to read that a couple times.
Do you want to read this one? Can you read it?
If you want me to, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you give it a roll?
My husband and I were so excited to be parents, read all the books, and wanted a heap of children. We then had my son, currently 18 months, and he has been so hard since the moment he was born. Colic, a dairy allergy, wouldn't take a bottle, so I EBF and was dairy free until we could wean him. EBF, I electrical breastfeed.
I forget.
Hated the car, hated the pram, has slept through the night a handful of times since he was born,
British.
despite all the sleep training, etc. we have done. Every parent we met with a child the same age has remarked on how hard and full on he was, even from 2 or 3 weeks old. How hard and full on he was? What does that mean?
I guess
Bullish?
high energy. I guess
High energy.
like he doesn't shut down.
He is bright and funny and a pleasure now, even though we are exhausted because of the still awful sleep. But I see friends who are now having babies and doing things that we could never even have attempted at his age because it would have been impossible. I would not change him for the world. Why not? It sounds like he's killing you. But we are now of the view that we can't handle another child like him. Such is the mental, emotional, and physical toll he has taken. Absolutely not his fault. And so we're one and done. How do I make peace with the baby experience I never had and get over the grief of not having any more children? Please be kind. I love him so much, and he is brilliant and will just get even better. But these 18 months have broken me.
I mean, it seems like you had a rough time, but you could do it again, and it could be completely different.
In fact, I would bet $1 they will be, in many ways, completely different.
Yeah. Or
That's a
exactly the
funny
same.
thing. It's a funny thing. Like, I just expected a kid to be similar to Hannah. But I only thought about a kid just wanting to be like Hannah, like a little kid, a little brother or a little sister, big sister thing. I didn't expect the whole tone, demeanor, like to every nuance you could imagine. They're different.
Yeah.
Other than they're loud. They're both loud. Everything else is different. So to assume that they're going to be as nuts as this one, and you don't know how your kid's going to behave if a baby shows up. Some of them kind of like snap into shape because they're like, oh, I'm not the baby anymore. And they kind of like,
yeah,
so,
they
or
move
it
up to the
backfires and
totem,
they're just super jealous.
scratch their eyes out,
Punch.
wake them up, just for spite. I mean, I'm going to bring it back up for a sec. I think, how do I make peace with the baby experience I never had and get
I
over the
know.
grief of not
I
having, like, what do you
know.
mean get over the grief of not having it? Like, you just made the choice. Why are you getting
Like
over the grief of it? Like, you can
the
unmake your
one
choice.
the one that got away is not about children you didn't have. And that's
Yeah.
what you're like talking like, like it's like the Notebook, like, oh, I love that man and he's a construction guy, but I chose to go with this rich family, and it's like you can have another child.
Yeah.
You can. You
You
can do
can
it.
just go over there. Let's go do it.
Do it, and guess what? You'll make it. It'll be rough, and it'll also be rough. That's another thing. It's like no matter what, they're just tough. They just beat the shit out of you for a little bit, sleep wise.
I mean, also, second time
I'm
around,
all
though, you're way more relaxed. I mean, things are tougher depending on how they behave and stuff, but you've been through it now. You've been through, like, it. I don't think I guess it could get a bit worse than what you went through, but it if you get no allergies, not colic, then you're going to be like, this is a breeze. Now,
right. And
the
if it is all those things, you're like, well, we know what this is about,
right, already been there, done that, and then
and
you
you
get to
can
18
do it.
months and he's fine now. So do it again.
But one of her first sentences, we
Mm,
wanted to have a heap of kids.
a heap.
Well, that's because you didn't have any at
Yeah.
the time when you thought you could handle a heap. Because everybody imagines this big family because we've seen it like on TV or maybe in real life, and this huge family and everybody gets along, and it just this symbiosis of just like a million people, and it's crazy, but it's awesome. And you think you can pull it off. And
Well, I mean, I've seen people with the bigger families, and it does seem to work, but there's kind of it's kind of like a plane taking off. It has to hit that cruising altitude, and then the older
yeah.
kids are the ones kind of raising the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean? They're
yeah.
picking them up from school. They're getting
There's
their
like an assembly
lunches
line.
ready,
Yeah.
right? So there is a bit of automation that kicks in after a while. So I can see that, right? And
But
I,
it's
I
also good.
okay. No, sorry.
But again, it's just like what you thought you wanted or could handle is just usually hardly ever the same as when you like get there, because you just like think that like in your head, it's going to go like this, A, B, C. But
Right.
it just never, it hardly ever does.
Yeah. You just
Hardly ever.
gotta watch Rocky Balboa and make out and make another kid. I don't,
Right.
you know,
Right. We're
I
one and
hated the
done. It's
pram,
like,
hated the
yeah,
pram.
to think of that, again, I wish these people would subscribe. It's free, because one and done is like, look, if you get pregnant now, in 10 months when the baby comes, your kid's going to be almost 3. So it's going to be just complete nothing like it is now.
Right. Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Again, a lot of this stuff that we read on here, that old concept of time and how like much a kid changes in such a short amount of it.
Hmm.
It's pretty neat if you can just fucking suck it up, which is hard. Yeah.
It is hard. I mean, yeah, and I remember going through it and thinking, I mean, Leo was pretty tough, and then we were kind of like, all right, I think we're done. So I understand the decision process. I might even be a bit hypocritical giving advice on this, but I think just it sounds like you want to have. It just sounds like what you're writing says, "I want another kid." I just think it's going to be too hard. So go for it. I think you should go for it. I don't think you should write it off, and I think you should do it quickly so that they can be kind of close in age.
Right, because even when this new, okay, I'm just going to jump ahead. Imagine this kid is here and it's brutal. you're still gonna show up. You're still gonna suck it up and be there.
I also
You're not
don't
gonna be like, all right, I quit.
I don't like all this like apologetic stuff too, like, and absolutely not his fault, and you know, he's perfect in every way, and I wouldn't change a thing. It's like, just stop. Just
I hate that. I hate that. Like, we know the sky is blue and the clouds are white. It's like you're telling us that at the end
yeah.
there. We know you think your kid's brilliant. Who like shut up. You don't know anything
Or
about him.
just say
Apparently he
that
sucks.
he's not. I don't care. I don't
Like we
care.
don't need all that. Like that's
Fine.
just your opinion and just it's so irrelevant. We don't think you're bad. But
Yeah, we don't. You can say bad thing about your kids if you need to vent, and don't. I mean, I won't judge you for it. Just,
and I
especially after everything you've
am
been through.
I'm you know, Heather wants 3. She still wants another one. And I'm just like, I don't want another one because I'm physically wearing and tearing faster than I ever planned. So I'm like, another one's just going to kind of speed that along even more. And I'd rather be like pretty good for these 2 than like not capable
Hmm.
for a third. And that's just like a weird thing that 9 months ago, I was like, all right, let's do it. We got to do this now. And there's still a goalie in that net. And the clock continues to tick. And the world is weird.
Yeah. Well, the world's always
It's
going to be
always
weird.
weird.
It just You just got to get your kids laughing about it and prepare them for this figuring out the snake oil.
Ignoring.
You can't ignore. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say ignore because it comes right into your face. But prepare them to use logic and knowing somebody's trying to sell you something. That's one thing I do with the kids whenever we watch TV. You know, they don't see commercials very often. So when we watch the live commercials, I always ask them to tell me what they're trying to sell you. Like, what is this commercial selling us? And they'll be like, "Oh, fried chicken." I'm like, "Okay, like
Jeans.
what's this one?" A lot of betting. They're like, "This one's telling you to bet." I'm like, yeah, because it's like all over sports.
Ay,
But
ay, ay.
I just tell them,
Ay,
like,
ay, ay.
then when you go outside, someone's going to be selling you stuff too. So just be ready for it. Right.
I know,
Even if it's just their way of thinking.
it's like, I hope school comes easily because teaching you street knowledge is going to be a whole nother academy. Kindergarten trouble. Little darts.
Grandma, oh my God. How many lives are left for John?
I have a bulletproof vest on. I can take it. It just knocks the wind out of me. It makes me unconscious for a second or two.
Grandma. You all right?
I mean, I read the title. What the these old ladies? They're running wild.
That Snickers bar doesn't seem so bad anymore now, does it?
Now
Mm-mm.
it still seems bad, but
Would
compared
you
to
like
this,
some
not.
milk with those cookies?
It's Homelander.
For
For
context.
context.
This whole thing is context. You don't, for context. I'm an only
Context.
child, and my mom came to help/visit now that my wife and I have had our second child. Also, I should mention these non sequiturs are not needed. You're writing the article. Also, I should mention that she admitted to us that I never breastfed. Wait. Oh, that you never breastfed with her. Like, you never, as a kid, you weren't breastfed.
My
My
milk
milk
just
just
dried
dropped.
up after a month. Ew.
Yeah, you do the quotes.
Ew, mom.
While kid number 2 was crying, she said,
I have to tell you guys, one time when
"Kid 1."
was a newborn and you guys went out on a date and I babysat, he just wouldn't stop crying. I didn't know what to do, so I gave him my boob. Obviously, nothing came out, but I got him quiet for an hour. Clip it
First of all, I would never tell someone if this if
at the 1 hour 59 minute mark.
if I did. Oh my gosh. But secondly, why would she tell us that? Am I being overly weird about this? Is this a normal response from a grandmother while her grandson is crying? Well, or is this out of line or weird behavior on her part?
Well, wait, can you pull it up again? Did she say that the baby does breastfeed? Because, dude, when a baby can't stop
Did
crying, you just try everything. And it's like the mom instinct is like, maybe this will just make him, he'll just like it because he thinks it's his mom's.
I think they're trying to say that the mom never got to breastfeed.
Oh,
So I don't
because
know
she,
if they're trying to like they're kind of trying to imply what's going on, that the grandmom never got to breastfeed, and so I'd like to know what time it is now. Like how many years have passed when she drops this bomb. Like is this over dinner or something that she's
yeah.
like, oh, by the way,
I like
I
how he's
did.
also like, I would never tell anyone this, but it's like you told everyone.
You told the world.
You told all of us, though.
It's been up for many days, and so if you regret it, you are not showing it in a very normal way.
I don't buy it. Whew. That's a fun one. But
I
it's
mean,
also like there's so many like motherly things there where I'm almost like, if it got him to shut up, I don't know if I care.
yeah, what's the difference between this and something and a piece of plastic that was made in a factory in China? Like I don't.
Right. And it probably like in some weird chemically pheromone way was like familiar. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, this is just something that like my grandmom does too in like its lizard brain.
If anything, I think there would be some sort of mom problem with it. Like I think his dad's like, baby, shut up, great. Like I don't really
Yeah,
have
like,
an
that's what I'm saying.
emotional connection to it, but the bond with breastfeeding, I don't, I'll never understand it, but it was strong, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, dude,
um,
they're like clocks. They're like,
so you know, I think there might be more of a problem between the mom and the mother-in-law in this situation.
yeah, like I was saying, I'm like, for me, I don't have a problem, but like, there's something with the moms there that like, uh, it's like listening to an alien language. I just would be like, I don't even know what's happening between them.
Yeah, there could be like emotions and stuff.
Fiction,
Yeah,
the weird, yeah, right, right.
it's a bit of a leap, like of the things. Like there wasn't one passy in the house. There wasn't like one teething ring or anything, like other options before
I know.
jumping right to skin on skin contact. It just kind of,
I gave him my boob.
it could be like I mean, there was, I mean, I think there were wet nurses, and there was a whole business lined up for strangers to come in and feed babies and stuff. So it was, people share
Yeah.
breast milk on the on the internet. If they produce a lot and moms can't produce a lot, then they sell it, and
Hmm.
there's a big market for it. So that's
Yeah,
not, that's
it's
like
a
actual
hell
milk,
of an elixir.
right?
Hell of an elixir. Gross though. I didn't drink it, but it accidentally was on my hand or finger or whatever. And I touched my lip, and I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, that's it." I was like, "I bet that's it." It stung me for a second, and then I was like, "Oh, okay. I think I finally tasted it, and never again."
oh,
But thank you.
yeah. I had plenty during the time that that was going on.
Right. Grandma tried to breastfeed my kid. Um, yeah, just I wish they maybe had said like, we tried this, we tried this, we tried this, and it didn't work. So I gave him my boob because boob, that move has to be like, I don't know, the 30th thing that you attempt. It can't be like
But
four
why?
or five.
Yeah, well, it's kind of both, right? So it's either the 30th thing you try or the first, because it's a boob. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
You're either ready to do it or it's your last resort. I don't know. It can't be somewhere in between. It's not like the
Yeah, maybe
third
like
thing
he
you
was
try.
grabbing her and she just kind of like pulled it down and was like, here. And he just like took it and was like, oh. Because, I mean,
It's just like a
certain
soothing
certain
thing.
age,
Yeah.
I mean, for most boys, that will stop us from crying at all
Even
ages.
to this day, it would stop us from
Yeah,
not
from the day we're
grandma, but
born till death. No, not
not
grandma.
grandma.
Unless grandma was like,
No.
something, something else, something we don't even know about.
Something beyond science. All right.
Something beyond our eyes.
Do you want to do this last one? Knock it out of the park. 4 days of kindergarten, 3 calls home. Help.
Oh boy.
What's a an S?
My
Okay.
daughter.
What's an S name?
My daughter,
Skippy.
S5, almost 6, just started kindergarten, her second year at this school where she also spent summer in camps. It's not a new environment. Wednesday, I got a call from the dean, admin who handles behavioral issues, and if you're an
Oh.
idiot, saying S had been discovered with a classmate crawling around the bathroom. They can leave the classroom to use the hallway bathrooms, unlike last year where they had a single stall in the classroom.
Mhm.
Gross. And everyone had to smell their poop. The dean said they had to talk about bathroom hygiene and etiquette. S and I had a similar talk, and I took away TV for the evening, having a hard time thinking of related consequences. Saying when she had consequences at school, she had consequences at home too.
It's a lot of consequences.
Crawling around the bathroom. They can leave the crawling around the bathroom.
Like they were they were joking around in the bathroom.
Yep, I know. I'm just trying to literally visualize kids crawling around the bathroom. I'm like,
You could just visualize
was
it.
was there
Were you in the
poop
bathroom
involved?
when we got caught in first grade? I mean, I wasn't part of it, but everybody was like peeing on the floor and stuff and sliding through it.
Oh fuck no, man.
Yeah,
No
it was
way.
gross. I
No,
tattled.
didn't
I
see
tattled
happening.
on that. I tattled right away. I
Yeah,
was
I'd
a
be like,
narc.
yo, my shoes.
But once everybody's peeing on the ground and people are sliding through it, I'm like, game over,
Uh,
man. Game over.
I think I remember I opened the door, saw Tim Gallagher do a Pete Rose, and I was like, sorry, not for me.
Gross. Yeah.
Thursday, I got a call from the dean saying S and a different student had been found turning the bathroom lights on and off and holding the door closed.
Oh
The dean
my
said S would
God.
no longer be able to use the bathroom without an adult. I
What?
picked her up early before aftercare to have another serious talk. We talked about trust, losing it and earning it back. She
Oh,
seemed to understand and wanted to do better, but when I asked her why what she did wasn't okay, she had a hard time articulating it. Even after our conversations, she kept coming back to getting caught. She lost TV after that evening, again that evening, and she wrote notes to the dean and her teacher apologizing. Friday, I walked her into school to try and really affirm our talk and
oh.
saw her deliver both notes. Later, the dean called to say S had, with a teacher in the bathroom, looked under the stall when another student was peeing and saw his tiny dick. Obviously, this is now a privacy safety issue. S is
Oh
not only
my God. This is a
S is now
6-year-old.
allowed to use the bathroom one-on-one with the dean before school, after lunch, and after school. The dean also asked me if she could involve the school counselor for an observation,
Oh,
because S is obviously not able to understand this message in a way we are communicating with her.
yeah, because you're failing to communicate.
When S and I talked again, she offered the info about what happened right away. When we talked about why she looked under the stall, she said she didn't know who else was in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked about the repeated issues in the bathroom this week, she said that this new grade wasn't familiar to me.
Mm.
A word I didn't know she knew. And she didn't understand the bathroom rules this year because they're different than last year. Tippy toe. We talked a lot about what to do when you don't know the rules. Yeah, right. I.e., ask. Don't just run wild. I tried to reiterate the lost trust, and while I think she kind of gets it, she also said she likes the dean and is glad that she gets to help her. She gets to help her in the bathroom.
Facepalm.
Right, emoji facepalm. Sorry, I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what I'm missing here. She's never had an issue like this with repeated lack of impulse control. I don't know how else to communicate this.
Icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake, I work at the school with a different division. So not only do I feel like a failure, I feel like my failure is very much on display with people I know and respect. I'm embarrassed, feel guilty, then feel guilty for feeling embarrassed about my kid, who I love with my whole heart. I do, I swear, I swear, I swear.
That's just.
What say you?
I say that a 5-year-old or 6-year-old or whatever she is acting like a 5 or 6-year-old, and that all of this gets handled in kindergarten, and it shouldn't be a phone call to the parent. It should just get
Every time.
worked on. I wouldn't make my kid write apology letters to everybody and hand them in.
I mean, can she really? I mean, jeez. I guess I can write.
No, all of this sounds.
It's a lot of effort.
All of this is like, we are going to operate in a society where everyone has privacy and everyone is respected. Everyone deserves for you not to turn the lights on and off in the bath. It's like, don't.
It's like, okay,
It's a
first time
kindergarten.
offense, don't do that again. Looked under the stall, first time offense, don't do that again. Like, she's learning what not to do in life because she's a curious 5-year-old, almost 6.
The dean is like, S, how have you not figured this out yet? You have been on this earth for 5 whole years.
How many public
Get it
restroom
through your
experiences have you
skull.
had? 2?
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't
How
figure out
many
how to
alone?
really grab things with your thumb until you were 2. That leaves you with 3 whole years to understand you don't flick lights on and off, even though it's super duper fun. Like,
I wish they said when she asked her why did she look under the stall, her answer was, I wanted to see
if anyone else was in the bathroom.
Pete.
No, but I mean, her answer is perfectly
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see if
Truthful.
anyone else was in here. Like, I just looked.
And you're like,
I
but
looked.
you would have seen their penis. It's like probably a
I
6-year-old is
was
not
looking for
looking.
shoes.
Like a 6-year-old doesn't care. You're the freak who's
Yeah, no, it's ready.
pushing it on the 6-year-old.
What's a penis? What the heck are you talking about? I never heard that word before. Who has that?
Right. Now,
Do I have a
welcome to
penis?
800 more questions. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Yeah, you got to talk about a bit about privacy and a bit about bubbles and stuff like that. Like, there's always a kid in kindergarten that wants to like hug everybody, and not everybody wants to be hugged and stuff. But that's like they got to figure it out. That's why they're there. Otherwise, there's no point to it.
Yeah, I know.
We could just sit them in front of Sesame Street and they'd learn it all. The whole point is that they're figuring these things out at school. I don't understand why you're embarrassed by your kid. It's like you're making me angry.
Well, if I cut open this cocoon, the butterfly will fly out,
Right.
but it won't be able to fly because it's not strong enough. Struggle is nature's way of strengthening. Boone, let's go.
Yeah. And
The great
enjoy
John.
your relapse, Charlie.
Oh, right, it is Charlie.
Yeah, and it was a moth.
I was picturing Boone, moth, butterfly.
Admin who handles behavior. Why is it a dean then? This whole thing.
Admin who handles behavioral issues. If you
Five,
are
yeah, five
a
almost. Five,
retard,
almost 6. Not 5.7.
S. I named my daughter S.
Like, if you're going
She
to protect your
lost
name, why don't you
fever.
just change it? Just use a different name. You have the ability.
She didn't seem, crawling around in the bathroom. Okay, don't do that again. Okay, we know. We may try to. It's like the first time where I don't know. It just seems like a kid being a kid to me.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a kid intentionally being bad.
They're like,
Closing the door and turning off and on the lights.
S is the
Who
only
didn't do
child
that?
to come through our facility who has ever crawled on the floor in the bathroom.
And ever
The
turned
first,
off the lights
the
on
first
and off.
ever. Yeah, it's like childproof it. Then they make light switch covers. Just put them in.
Sensors, you dumb.
Yeah, just change it to sensor. It sounds like a facilities problem.
Right. Yeah, it is. Don't let them
Make the stalls go all the way to the floor. If you don't want
Yes.
to teach these things, then change the environment.
put spikes on the ground. They can't crawl.
Make their
Thumbtacks.
knees bleed.
Yes.
Yes, all these things. So dumb. It's like they got to figure stuff. The whole point is they're figuring stuff out, and now you're like, you're gonna get like you're now in trouble every time you figure things out. Every time you figure things out, you're gonna get a
I
lecture from
know,
me.
man. I don't know why my young Charlie, man, she thinks that every time I'm like, yo, no, this is just a life lesson. You're not like punished or anything. She freaks out. She cries. She thinks she's in trouble. Tonight she said, yes, I am. I was like, yo, you're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. She goes, yes, I am. I'm like, who's making you think that? This has never been a thing. It's so strange. They like sometimes I don't know what the hell they're up to.
I got slammed at baseball practice because I was having the kids try kid pitch because this game on Saturday they're going to have kid pitch for the first time. So they've had a machine pitch up until this point. And so I was having some of the kids are pitching for the first time. So, we were getting ready for that. So the kids were pitching and Leo was up and I was calling balls and strikes. And I mean, I hate calling. I don't want to ever be an umpire. But
oh God, yeah.
Anyway, I
Unless
called
they're
him.
awesome.
I called him out because it was close enough. It was a strike, and he lost. He was like so mad at me, and
oh God, what a rough spot.
He was like sitting on the bench and crying and stuff, and I was like, oh. So I went over to him and I was like, look, I wanted you to see it. Like I wanted you to see what it looks like to get balls and strikes called against you. Like you see the Phillies get upset all the time. Like people don't like the call. It can happen. I'd rather you break down right now than break down in the middle of a game. So you saw it. You know what it feels like. I just wanted you to get a feeling for it." And he turned and looked at me and he goes, "Well, I guess it worked." And he stormed off. I was like, "Whoa."
Well, I guess it worked. Dad. He's like Blue.
Yeah. Call me Blue.
Agnew. Uh, yeah, it's like, yeah, I would have been like, you wanted me to be fair, right? No, it's like you can't even say that because they could be like, no, cheat
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Let me win.
That's like a thing. It's like that seed will plant and it will grow and you'll remember it. Be like, my dad called a strike
Yeah.
because it was a strike.
Yeah. It probably, I don't even know if
He
it
wasn't
was.
gonna. Right? Yeah.
Who cares?
You're like, yeah,
Like,
it was a
either way,
little
you're going to
low.
get a bad call.
Yeah.
You can't lose your mind.
Right. Yeah. And I need to show everybody here that I'm not.
But it's just a series of experiences. Like, you need to see the experiences. Otherwise, you're going to have it at the wrong time. And so it's better that they have it in when she's 5 years old in kindergarten than when she's like in fifth grade and decides, "Hey, is anyone else in this bathroom?" Right? And then it's a much bigger problem. It's because it's not a problem right now. It's the purpose. You're mixing up the things. You're taking the goal and moving it all the way back to the starting line. Like, the goal is to understand not to look under the stall. The goal is to understand not to crawl on the floor in the bathroom. The idea is not to flip the lights on and off because it's rude if somebody's in there, right?
Exactly.
So, but you can't take the goal of what they're supposed to understand and move it all the way back to the beginning. That doesn't work that way. You can't, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you failed."
The more you have when you're like a little kid, when nothing really matters, when the shit similar happens when you get older and things become a little more serious, you're a little more like practiced
Right.
and ready.
I'm also not sure about that one. What was the line that wasn't familiar to me? Yeah, that would kind of freak me out if I heard a 5-year-old say that, but
What?
wasn't familiar to me. Well, it's just weird that she writes "wasn't familiar to me" and then she writes a word I didn't know she knew. So it was also like just not. It doesn't really add to the story. And of course, a new grade wouldn't be familiar to her. Like, I don't know. It seems like mom boasting. It seems like mom, like, maybe this didn't even happen.
No, I'm like, how do you, how the hell do you think you know all the words that your kids know?
Yeah,
You can't like keep a tab on that.
Ruby
Just
recited the
such a
whole
weird thing to say to me.
Ruby recited the whole Del Val, not Del Val, the Delco commercial. There's a Delco commercial that comes on during Phillies games, and it's like, Delco has like parks, Delco has restaurants, Delco has like things. And we were riding in the car one day, and she just recited the whole thing. She's like, "Delco has," because we were driving into Delaware County, and there was a
That's
sign,
awesome.
and she's like, "Oh, Delco has parks." Like, what is going on right now? But they absorb it. They might not say, "I now know this word," but
Right.
they
But
do.
it's in there.
Yeah.
It's in there, and if like somehow they need to pull it out, they like will. I love jingles. I just love jingles because they're fun to sing, but I just always picture the people in like the recording studio like
Trying to get it.
doing it. Like I've always thought of that. I'm like, God, what a career. Like what a funny career to sing like a 15-second, maybe even shorter little ba da ba ba ba, like something like that tiny that's like played on a zillion commercials.
Oh my gosh.
It's
It must have
amazing.
been like amazing in like the 50s when you were like a
No,
rock star,
I
if you're doing.
know. It's a big deal. Huge.
And you'd probably do it live. It wasn't like pre-recorded. You'd have to have the guy who does the McDonald's jingle there, you know. You'd have to walk up
Right.
and be like, "In this episode
Standing there.
sponsored by Viceroy cigarettes. You know, ooh, smooth.
Right.
Like he's probably smoking it. And he's like, and then come by McDonald's for 15-cent burgers. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Viceroys? Was that you?
It was
Or did you just pull that out of your ass?
it was Cliff. Forever in my
Oh,
brain.
right.
Because he used to quiz us on what brand we smoked.
Right.
Mm. Anyway, can't do a Cliff impression right now. All right, let's call it.
Oh, I was
I'm-
doing it with the girls.
I mean,
the
it's
other night.
fun. It's
And
fun.
I'm dead.
It's always good.
Oh, I know.
It's a deep Southern one.
Whenever the girls play hide and seek, I do kind of like it's like Cliff, Elmer Fudd, and whatever Bugs Bunny. Like I'm like, where are those varmints? I walk around like I pretend I have a gun.
Yeah. Always get them. It's always fun.
They
I love
die.
doing accents with them.
I know, dude. Me and Charlie were doing each other to each other this
Ooh.
weekend. Like when I told you she had me for 6 hours, but she squeezed like 12. She was like, all of a sudden, she goes, "Okay, Dad, I'll sit down. This is how you talk. This is how you talk, Dad." And I go, um, my name's Charlie. And then she laughed. But for like a second, dude, I felt like really bad because I was
Yeah.
like mocking her. But she laughed, and I was like, whew. So like we were like making fun of each other to each other. It was pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh. No,
Pretty
I
neat
think
moment.
that's really important. I think it's like
Yeah,
to build up
huge.
their skin,
Of course.
to make them tougher,
Right.
and also laugh at themselves. You know, we're still working on that now. The kids were fine with it for a while, and now they've gotten a bit more, sensitive as they've gotten more into like a social environment and stuff. So,
Mm.
but yeah, for me, they're always like, Cal, where are the keys? Cal. We always have this really deep voice, right? Like that's just the generic dad voice.
Yeah. That's what they do.
It's just what we sound like all day long.
I know. We're beasts.
It's good. Yeah. Ruby tears into me some days. Some days we were looking at muscles. Like Kelly was flexing and she's like all very defined. Her arms are like super defined right now. And I was like, who's got the bigger muscle? And they were like, Mommy does. I was like, no, my muscle's definitely bigger than Mommy's. And Ruby goes, yeah, but it has all that fat skin on it. And
That fat skin.
I fell backwards out of the room because I was laughing so hard. And then Ruby came over. She's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm like, you didn't. It was just such a good insult. I fell to the ground. I wasn't ready for it. Just like,
Fat
yeah,
skin.
it just
It's
has all that
great.
fat skin on it.
I've never heard fat skin.
No, it was a good one. Wasn't ready for it. Blindsided me. But all right.
Oh, well, go get that fat skin off. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week.
Everything's falling down.